Calaroga Shark Media.
If you have not voted yet, hit pause and go vote while you're listening to a dumb comedy podcast. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Go vote. It's super important. Jerry Seinfeld has blasted his children's former private school. Why? Because they said they would allow emotionally distressed kids to take the day after the election off. According to the Daily Mail, children attending the Ethical Culture Fieldston School, which costs $65,540 a year in fees, children will be allowed to excuse themselves from classes. Per the report, an email titled Election Day Support, the principal said it acknowledges that this may be a high-stakes and emotional time for children. The email, seen by the New York Times, adds, no matter the election outcome, the school will create space to provide students with the support they may need. Jerry spoke to the New York Times and said decisions like that irritated his family and forced them to transfer his son out. He said, this is why the kids hated it. What kind of lies have these people led that makes them think this is the right way to handle young people? To encourage them to buckle? This is the lesson they're providing for ungodly sums of money. Absences will be allowed on Wednesday or whenever the full election results are announced. Kids, you might be out of school for 2 months. Please vote. Vote for somebody. Please vote. John Oliver got emotional during last week tonight. Oliver said elections alone aren't efficient for large-scale change, but they're absolutely necessary for it to ever happen because it's the day you essentially get to choose who you'd prefer to be pushing for the next 4 years and where you'll be pushing them from. Oliver got teary-eyed and said, look, I love this country. I'm an immigrant. I chose to be here. In the words of the late, great Lee Greenwood, I'm proud to be an American. And I'd argue there's nothing more American than having a healthy adversarial relationship with those in power, even if you voted for them. A clip of Ricky Gervais went viral. Gervais posted this back when they swapped out Biden for Harris. Here's Ricky.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, I don't know what time of day the episode's coming out. Right now, I have nothing for tomorrow. I kind of want to react to whatever happens tonight, so if the comedians are out saying stuff, I'll bang out an episode. If we get late into the evening tonight, I might wait and wake up and record something. So if you don't have an episode at 3 a.m. Eastern, you'll have one around 8 a.m. Eastern would be the backup plan, but not sure what's going to happen yet. The Daily Show will be live tonight. Jon Stewart and his team are prepared for a, quote, no resolution outcome. Ronnie Chang, Jordan Klepper, Michael Costa, and Desi Leidick will join Jon Stewart, providing updates and analysis on the election, as well as tips on surviving the post-election breakdown of society. The special will run for an hour. Oh, I thought you guys were going to go all night. Come on, go all in. Come on, Jon Stewart. Go all in. An hour. Pfft. The official title, as Comedy Central continues to have terrible titles, The Daily Show presents a live election night special with Jon Stewart, Indecision 2024, Nothing We Can Do About It Now. The special will simulcast on MTV, Paramount Network, TV Land, CMT, Pop, and Logo. Jimmy Kimmel was on with Joe Scarborough recently and said, I kind of have to think through what I might say the next day being tomorrow to you and I. Because, you're going to have to be up the next morning talking about what happened or what didn't happen and what message do you want to send to people who watch the show. Most of my shows aren't important. That one seems a little bit more important than others because I do have a lot of people kind of asking me what I think and going along with what I think, and it's a big responsibility. I don't feel like I'm mentally prepared for the possibility of a loss for Kamala Harris. I'm not ready for it. I have to get there when I'm ready for either scenario or for no scenario, which might be the case for several days. Who knows? None of my writers can figure out my take on this. I have to tell them what it is. As for the interview he's most looking forward to, he says interviewing President Kamala Harris. The Last Laugh asked Seth Meyers, doesn't part of you like the idea of Trump as president? Don't you kind of want him to win because it gives you more material? Seth said, I can only tell you the tension left my body when Biden officially won was palpable, and that slow creep of the tension back into my bones has not been enjoyable because, again, this one could be worse, and the fact that it's so close is bad. And by the way, I think we should be talking about him. It's not a crutch for me. It's the guy who has either had or been runner-up to the most powerful position in the world, so I'm never like, What is it about him that I just can't quit? I know what it is, and yet I can't really stress enough. And again, I'm assuming he's a big fan of this podcast, but if he went away, I wouldn't even reference him. He'd be retired from the show the day he decides to get out of this. Seth said, we're not going to go live. I don't think we're going to know much tonight. One thing we recently did, which we enjoyed a great deal, is a live primetime closer look about the debate, but we did it the next day, and for us, having 24 hours to do both a closer look about the debate and the reaction of the debate was thrilling, so going live was great. Going live moments after the dust settles or while it's settling, that's a skill other shows have shown they're very adept at, but we have not historically found that we've landed that plane in a way that was worth it. As for who wins, I think the show will be fine in either way. I think if I spend too much time living and planning for two different futures, it'll just take a lot out of me, and you know myself and the head writers, we're all improvisers. We came from an improv background, and then we learned how to write. And so I think what we like most is the yes ending to the president. And so we're just going to stay on our toes, and knowing that whether we're happy or sad, it's better to have the show than not. So it'd be cathartic either way to be doing a show on Election Day and the day after and the day after and the day after. Michael Barry was a monologue writer for Carson. He told Late Nighter, I think if Johnny were working today, he would definitely dive in. I think he'd be offended and angered by Trump. Johnny was the epitome of decorum and good manners and Midwestern reticence, and Trump is the antithesis of that. But Johnny was sometimes motivated by anger. He'd see something in the paper that would make him angry, and he'd call on the writer and say, let's do something on this. Late Nighter asked, would Johnny Carson go as far as Kimmel, Colbert, Meyers, and Fallon? Barry said, all these guys are doing jokes I can picture Johnny doing. He got a lot of mileage out of Nixon and Watergate. Some people would just tick him off. He'd channel that into his comedy. Comedians work a lot based on anger. Comedy Dynamics has shared a trailer for Tony Rock, Rock the World. It's out today as a video special on album form on the 8th. They shared a trailer. I pulled it. I was ripping the audio, and I was going to comment on how long it takes Tony Rock to even get to anything resembling a punchline. And I was a minute 5 seconds in, and I realized I can't play this on my podcast. You guys would be like, what is he doing? What happened to the jokes? So no trailer from me. It took a long time to get going. Tony Rock, Rock the World sees Tony Rock offer a fresh take on post-pandemic life, covering black culture, gender, and relationships. Tony Rock told Deadline, this project has been a monumental endeavor, crafted during countless nights of brainstorming, rewriting, and perfecting every single bit. This isn't just a show, it's a milestone in my career, and I believe it's some of my best work yet. If the name sounds familiar, Tony Rock's brother is Chris. Tony Rock, also famous for being slapped by the brother of Will Smith. The Plano Comedy Festival, the largest comedy festival in North Texas, is back. They're back today. Guys, today's not a great day for news coverage, and tomorrow's worse. Did the election sneak up on you? Why would you do this today? Headliners include Learn More, John Asai, Don McMillan, Sarah Colonna, Mike Vecchione, Cypher Sounds, Paul Varghese, Linda Stogner, Kalana Spiller, Kareth Foster. I worked with Kareth many years ago. Merlin Award winner The Magic of Eric Eaton, and Brad Upton, who claims to have the second most watched comedy special on the planet. And that is your comedy news for today. Please vote. See you tomorrow.